Alright, so a lot of traps in Rising Storm 2 Vietnam are, I'd say pretty underused, to be absolutely honest. I don't think I've ever been killed by Fugas, or however the hell you pronounce that. But nonetheless, I want to get all the explosive traps and equipment and put them into a tier list, because quite frankly, who doesn't like tier lists? And that's really all I've been doing lately. And you also know how I said to, take my opinion with a grain of salt. Well, I'm gonna be completely honest, I've been giving you guys too much sodium as of lately. I always say, hey, if you're mad, take it with a grain of salt. It's basically just to say, hey, if you're mad, don't blame me. But in today's video, I want you guys to take it with a salad, something a little healthy, want to keep that blood pressure down. I also wanted to say that it was hard to get exact numbers on, the lethal radius, throwing radius, and the effectiveness of each trap, because, the wiki just, whoever was doing the wiki just gave up halfway through. It hasn't been updated since like 2017. But yeah, anyways, let's get into the video. Alright, so starting off with my personal favorite piece of equipment, and that is the handheld mini nuke, or the nuke grenade, or just the C4. It can be thrown up to 15 meters away, which is about, half the throwing distance of a regular grenade. But I mean, this thing can be absolutely devastating, and it can literally wipe out multiple people at once. You have to actually be careful when using this though, because it has a lethal radius of apparently 10 meters. But I mean, I'm just gonna run some tests and just, with the test dummies in the offline map, and you can just see for yourself. And even like standing outside of this supposed lethal zone, you will literally be crippled. Now, in my opinion, to use this to the best of your abilities, before you throw any, check your map to make sure there is no friendlies in the general area that you're throwing this, because there is a high chance that you will take them out. Now, the thing with traps, right, is that they will stay there even after you die. So if you want to stick the C4 to the corner somewhere and corner of a room and it gets filled with VC, well, as long as you are within range to, detonate it, there'll be a ring. You'll be able to tell. But I mean, this thing can just vaporize. It'll literally vaporize anything it comes into contact with. This is hands down probably the most funnest, I know funnest isn't a word, fucking deal with it. It's probably the funnest piece of equipment in the game, and it's probably the most lethal piece of equipment in the game. But anyways, I'm gonna have to obviously put this in S tier. Like, there's really no arguments against it. Like, what's so bad about it? That it's so explosive. There have been times where I've been trying to use it and I just end up killing myself. Now I want to move on to claymores. These pieces of shit, right, they were annoying in Call of Duty. Whenever you climb a ladder to deal with a camper who's, just been sitting there, with this intervention or Barrett 50 cal. And actually, okay, let's be honest, snipers weren't the campers. The campers were the people, the assault rifles and SMGs that just sit in a damn corner. But anyways, it turns out that's not how they work in real life. There is no like laser that detonates it. You have to manually detonate it yourself, which, I mean, let's be honest, it kind of fucking ruins it. I understand that's realistic, don't get me wrong, but from a gameplay perspective, it's sort of hard to actually get a scenario where you'll have to use these properly, because the only time I've ever gotten kills with these is if like I'm waiting around a corner, I peek, I see people running, and if you press the X key, you can actually rotate the claymore, and I rotate it so that it's like going across from me, plant it, detonate it, and it will just literally vaporize everything in this, point of direction basically. Like, it is powerful. It can take out a lot of enemies, and it, because it can only explode in one direction basically. There have even been times where, like I'm being retarded and I'm shooting at an enemy, run out of ammo, drop my AK-47. Why would I say AK-47? I drop my M16, pull out my M1911. I miss every shot. I'm like, okay, I don't want to reload. So I drop a claymore, detonate it, and just as a last attempt, and it has worked. It has actually surprisingly worked a lot, but I don't think anyone has ever actually killed me with the claymore. You can put a bounty on my head. I'll give someone $30 Australian dollar dues if they can kill me with a claymore. Good luck with that. But I mean, I also like to put them sort of like in a room, conceal them. I can run into the radius, I think it's 30 or 50 meters, and I can detonate it and just like wipe out anything that's in the direction that it's pointing. Obviously, don't do this with friendlies, because I have taken out a couple of teammates with this, but yeah, that's what I tend to do. And I mean, it's not going to be 100% effective, but it does work. But I mean, I'm going to have to just put this trap in F tier. Wait, is it F tier? That's what it is. Yeah, it's absolutely awful. It's never going to be used as intended. I've never been killed by it, and I don't think chances are you've probably never been killed by it. You can't even shoot them to detonate it, which I also think is realistic. But I mean, yeah, they're not good. They're not a good trap. A lot of people hate them, and I can definitely see why. Now moving on to old reliable, the hand grenade and the the stick boy. Now there is there's a difference between these grenades. The stick boy apparently can be thrown a further 5 meters whilst, also being being, a little fatter, it's a little bit heavier than the Handy Boy, and that is disgusting. I am sorry. But nonetheless, there are probably the most, they're probably the most useful pieces of equipment in the game, since almost every class gets 2 of them, and, they can be used really effectively. And what I like to do with these is I like to, pull the pin, and I like to press my middle mouse button. I think that's what I don't know how fucking grenades work, but basically you'll hear a click, so that means that it's, it's priming, right? It's cooking, right? And then I throw it, and obviously I count like 1, 2, 3, like I count the seconds, so it explodes like as soon as it hits the enemy. It doesn't give them any time to react. But I mean, almost every class gets this, and even the infantry class gets 2 hand grenades, and I highly advise you guys to use your hand grenades, because they can do some serious damage, and they can, help if the enemies are fucking hiding behind a wall or some shit, or behind in some fortified position. You can just throw a bunch of grenades in there and that's it. Like, they're not gonna just sit there, they're gonna try and run out, and if they run out of cover, you can shoot them. But I mean, grenades are the reason why I hate Soviet Subbase. I mean, hey, I like that map. I actually do enjoy Soviet Subbase, but it's ruined because the last 2 points turn into an absolute grenade spam. It's not fun, in my opinion. But I mean, I'm gonna have to put these in B tier simply because, I mean, everyone can get them. They can be very useful, like they have a very important use, but they're not absolutely devastating like, C4 or like white phosphorus grenades, like they're good. They're average. They're not bad, but they're not fantastic. That's why I'm gonna put them in B tier. But anyways, moving on to Willy Pete, or white phosphorus grenades. Now, I love these grenades. They aren't too bad. I love hearing the screams of VC as you throw it over a wall and just hear them dying in agony. I am crazy, perhaps. Well, will I act on these tendencies? Maybe. Hotel Trivago, what the fuck was that? What even was that? I'm so sorry, I'm not insane, but my biggest complaint about Willy Pete, that's probably why they say Willy Pete, not white phosphorus, is that I don't find it, I haven't found that 100% consistent. It is better than hand grenades. It's just a better hand grenade, in my opinion. And it does leave like a lingering sort of cloud of gas, smoke. I was literally going to say, what chemical do they put in white phosphorus grenades? Like, I wonder what they put in a white phosphorus grenade. I'm fucking stupid. But I'm gonna have to put these in A tier. I mean, you're gonna probably want to use it the same way as you would with a hand grenade. It's just that, it leaves a lingering smoke, and I'm dead positive the explosive radius is bigger. So, it's better than a hand grenade. That's it. But now I want to talk about the Spiky Boy, otherwise known as the Punji Trap. And to be absolutely honest, Punji sounds like an Indian insult. Like, someone's probably going to get offended by me saying that one of the many Indian languages, Punji sounds like an insult. Can you just imagine you're arguing with an Indian and you just start calling them a Punji? What the fuck? Wait, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go and like text my Indian friend, just start spamming Punji at them. Let's just see what the reaction is. But I mean, almost every VC class gets a Punji trap, and they're good. Like, they're so underused. If every person in a server used them, all 30, 31, 32, I believe if my math is correct, VC used them, it would be fucking great. That would be absolutely fantastic. That's assuming, let's say, about 15 of them. So 15 Punji traps as the rifleman, grunt, gorilla class, whatever you want to call it. If they all put them down on a point, that could do a lot of damage and really fuck up Americans. I mean, literally, put it anywhere you want. Like, I don't give a shit. As long as you put it down and they have to disarm it, slowing them down, that's a win in my book. Now, obviously, you can only put them in dirt areas, and some dirt areas highlight the trap, not just this one, but also the Fugas, a lot more, and they make it more visible. Sometimes they just disappear into the ground, so I don't know. Unreal Engine 3, what do you fucking expect? But I mean, what I also tend to do is I like to put them near your squad tunnel, or, you know, even in random places, because I know that when I go into a building, right, I always check for traps. But if you place it somewhere on the flanks, or just anywhere I'd least suspect it, you know, that's still you making good use of them, you know? But I mean, I'm positive only one person can be killed by it when they stand on it. And obviously you can't shoot it to detonate it. You have to either walk around it. You can probably jump over it. Didn't actually test that out. Or you have to manually disarm it yourself. Otherwise, there's really no way around it. You're gonna have to fucking disarm it. Otherwise, you're gonna get face fucked by a spiky boy. boy. But I mean, you know, they're universal. Almost every VC gets them. They are heavily underused in my opinion. But I mean, they aren't catastrophic and can do heaps of damage. I probably put them, I was going to put them in D tier, but I probably put them in C tier. But I mean, they're very underused, but they can be annoying, and especially when used properly. All right, now moving on to the tripwire trap, which I completely forgot about when getting gameplay, so that's good. But these things are really good because, you know, they can be easily hidden and they have a massive blast radius. Not massive, but, you know, a decent blast radius. Now, what I like to do when using these is to make sure that the sticks can't be seen, you know, in the corners of doorways and whatnot. But I mean, they can be used indoors. This is what I do with mines and tripwire. I like to put them under windows, like, you know, after sandbags or over sandbags. So if someone climbs over these things, they they land on the tripwire or they land on a mine. You have a large distance that you can separate the two sticks apart. But I mean, the best way to probably use these is to just make them as hard to see as possible. Put them in doorways and like make sure to separate the sticks so they can't be seen. But I mean, out of all the VC traps, I reckon I get killed more by tripwire than I do of like spiky boys. That's what I call them now, punji traps. And I'm dead positive. I'm pretty sure only the sniper and the scout, I'm gonna have to throw that on screen to double check, but you know, they're not as universal as punji traps. You can also shoot them to trigger them. I'm probably just gonna have to put these in B tier. They're very, very effective. They can get lots of multis. You can shoot them to take out the VC that's probably camping next to them. Now we have my personal favorite trap, okay, as VC that is, and that is Fugas. I don't know how the hell you're able to pronounce it right, but the annoying thing is that, right, it is exclusive to the MP40 loadout, to the NLF, which mind you, I think the MP40 absolutely slaps ass, which is good. But the reason why I love Fugas is because it's literally a napalm canister that you can plant in the ground. The thing is, I had to Google it. I didn't actually know what it was, right? So I was curious to see what it looks like in real life. And I just the thought of my little Vietnamese character lugging around 2 drums of what I assume are petrol. I don't know what they put in it. I just assume it's petrol. But the downside to this is that, you know, for starters, it takes 4 scoops instead of 2, like the punji trap, to put down. But, you know, the actual planting area, like the radius to trigger it, is much larger. But, you know, it can also be easily seen, and you will burn in a horribly fiery death if someone jumps on it and you happen to be next to it. Someone shoots it and you happen to be next to it. Whether you're shooting it and you're too close, you'll die. If you're sitting next to it, someone shoots it, you'll die. Yeah, but I mean, nonetheless, this thing has an insane lethal area, and it's so much fun. The only problem is that it's very limited. You can only get it, like I said, as one faction and one loadout. You can only get it as the MP40. But I mean, I'm probably gonna have to put this in A tier. It's so underused, but it's just, there's so much potential for it. You can get some pretty decent freaking multis with it. But the last thing I want to talk about is the mines, the MD38, MD40. I actually forgot what they're called, the proper names, but basically they're the mines. I don't mind them. They have a very small trigger sort of radius, like you have to actually step on it. And the thing is, if you step on it, if you hear the click sound, you can actually stop and disarm it without having it detonate, because obviously if you step off the mine, it'll cause it to explode. But I mean, that'll almost never happen in real scenarios. Like, you're going to be running around really fast, you're going to hear a little click sound, but by the time you've actually processed it, you're going to be running fucking halfway down the road by the time you hear it. And, oh, well, not halfway down the road, but you'll be dead by the time you actually process it. But I mean, the good thing is that you get 5 of them, and that gives a lot of potential to, you know, spread them out. What I like to do is I like to put them near windows, near doorways. You'd be surprised at how many people just don't see them and walk over them. But yeah, that's what I tend to do with them. But another problem that I found is that when you plant them, they can actually go in the ground and they don't get triggered for some reason. I don't know if it's probably because I didn't step on them properly or because they're in the ground. But I mean, yeah, they're very hard to see. They just stick out a little bit. If you stick them in some grass, you're not gonna, it's impossible, literally impossible to see them. But I mean, I'm probably gonna have to put these in, it's a tough one, but I'll probably put them in C tier. I've actually had some luck with using them lately, but also I completely forgot about Molotovs. But anyways, look at today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. It was a long one, so please do consider leaving a like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends. Anyways, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.